So I will ring the bell, and we can let the sounds arise and come to the ears. Just pure sound. Welcoming ourselves to our Sunday insight and metta practice, the first and third Sundays of the month, where we take time to sit for 35, 40 minutes, maybe more, depending on insight and metta practice, and take a little break and then have some conversation. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm always happy to be here. It's always a joy to sit in Sangha with each other, no matter how many of us there are. And so as we let this body settle in our chosen seat, as the Buddha says, a comfortable position, and in his time that was under a tree or in a hut. May we let ourselves take our noble position. And we can also notice the sense of hearing. Hearing coming to the ears from far away or close up, from another room in our house, or maybe outside our windows, or sometimes it's internal sound. We can notice the other senses, touching and smelling, tasting and thinking, the thought door, as we settle into our senses and settle our bodies, noticing gravity, our buttocks on the cushion, we may take a moment to take a big breath and just let it flow through us. Take a few moments to let sensation release and relax throughout our body, noticing what might be happening in our face, neck, jaw. If there's any tension, letting it release. Noticing around our cheeks and our lips. Letting a kind of relaxation flow, or notice what's happening in our shoulders. Sometimes just putting our attention there can help them release a little. Feeling our organs, feeling our belly, feeling our sits bones, and allowing the earth's energy, gravity, keep us here in this place. Letting mindfulness be present, letting it be at the fore, the neutral, activity of the mind, landing on what it attends to, without compartmentalizing it as enjoyable or unenjoyable. Letting mindfulness keep its eye out on whatever arises at any of the sense doors. Where we can have an open awareness happening in this fathom-long body, seated in one place, filled with breath. We can notice the whole body breathing. Sometimes if the mind is busy or the body is active, it's helpful to have our attention become a little more concentrated on a single object of the breath, wherever we may feel it, at the nostrils or in the diaphragm. Being patient, taking time, holding ourselves in kindness to settle into the present moment. Noticing the rising of the breath, perhaps able to notice when it starts, or at least notice while it's happening. And we may also notice the end of the breath and that space between the end of the inhale and the beginning of the exhale. Having interest. Because this shows us clearly the impermanent nature of things. We choose the breath. We can't control it. We can't hang on to it. It arises of its own accord, stays for a certain amount of time, and fades away. And we have these moments of awareness, which can gladden the mind, waking up in this very moment, seeing clearly the arising and the passing away of what in this case might be our chosen single object, whether it's the breath, it could also be a touch point, where the buttocks hits the cushion, or where the hands are touching, or the eyelids. Sometimes if we focus on the breath, we can end up spacing out into not really knowing where we are, or getting lost in thoughts. We can let ourselves come back to the breath. We can also choose a touch point where we might feel pressure, tingling, lightness, heaviness, density. We can also feel that at the breath by having enough inquiry, enough insight, enough investigation to be aware and gently use the noting practice of seeing clearly what's happening. Oh, warmth, coolness, denseness, lightness. We can have these senses of feelings throughout the whole body for general open awareness, or specifically with the breath, where we feel it arising, or at the touch point. So whatever we choose, we hold ourselves gently and make an intention of being mindful as much as we can, having gratitude for the Buddha, the ability to really be free in this lifetime, to be shown the way of freedom, the possibility of the awakened mind, and gratitude for the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, and for the truth. Dhamma itself means truth, the way things are, which we see clearly moment to moment. And for the Sangha, each other in this group as we sit, those who've taught us and shown us the way, other Sangha members for generations and generations and generations back, monks and nuns and lay people, who are all part of this gigantic family of seekers. Which is seen clearly in this one single moment, in this one single body that we inhabit as the 5 aggregates that have come together. And through this kindness and spaciousness for ourselves, we stay present. And when we get lost, we just gently return to whatever object we've chosen, or we just wake up in that moment saying, this was an awakening moment. I came back to the present. Mindfulness is here. We may notice from time to time there might be some mind states of tiredness, sleepiness. There might be anxiety or worry. There could be grasping and clinging of greed, or the aversive nature of wanting to push something away from the present moment, or doubt in the practice, or doubt in the reason you're here, or doubt that you can really pay attention to your breaths. All of these hindrances, sloth and torpor, restlessness, worry, aversion, greed, doubt, they come and go through the mind. We can notice them, perhaps not feel bad that they're there, just welcome them, acknowledge them. Whatever arises, see that it too passes. And we can return to our intention of being mindful as best we can to whatever's happening now. And usually it's something at the nostrils or something at the belly, noticing the breath, having interest in each moment, that it begins when we're at the top of the breath, when we're at the bottom of the breath, being really present with that and knowing that, feeling pressure, warmth, heat, coolness, roughness. We have interest and investigation, just enough to have energy and to notice these moments of mindfulness. Stringing them together brings confidence. And we have the wisdom that arises from mindfulness that can see clearly when some things that arise might be unskillful, unnecessary. We can let them go. And other things we can incline the mind toward the more skillful states of mind. Mindfulness, confidence in the practice, energy, right amount of effort, mindfulness and awareness, kindness. We can incline the mind to the more positive states that arise and let go of the ones that are not so skillful. Over and over and over again. It's a natural process, this arising and passing away. The nature of our bodies put together by the aggregates. We can notice the elements of water and fire, earth and air happening in our bodies as we sit. We're part of nature. We have the ability to be mindful and notice something no other creatures in nature have the ability to do so clearly as we do as humans in this very precious birth. We can be aware of what's happening in the mind. We can feel what's happening in the body, the air in the lungs, the water in our veins, the earth of our bones, fire of our breath, the fire of our digestive system, nature. Whatever we may notice arising in the body, there may be aches and pains in different places that show themselves, and if we stay there momentarily to investigate, we may notice fire there, or the earth element there, the water element. We're a part of this process of arising and passing away, and we can use whatever comes into our attention to see that clearly. So that both in our body and in our minds, as thinking arises, we may notice something as pleasant or unpleasant, or maybe we can't tell. That feeling tone is there. In this spacious openness that we hold in our container of the body. The way we make up our world is through our senses. Hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, and the thought door. And we can notice sometimes how quickly we might have a preference of something being good or bad, how quickly the mind jumps to solidify what it is knowing. And there's always an opportunity for mindfulness to be there. Preferences arising and passing away. Inclining the mind toward gentle acceptance of whatever is being presented to our mindfulness. And as aware as we can be when things arise that seem unpleasant, we can understand with mindfulness that it too passes directly. And when something is unpleasant, it too will pass. And by seeing it directly, knowing it, we create a little more space. We let go a little more. Letting go happens naturally. Releasing happens with ease. And still we stay present and interested in this moment, and this moment, and this moment. Seeing what is coming together, noticing when it's falling apart, seeing when it comes together again clearly, seen with the mind's eye, known, direct knowledge. As the Buddha said, come see for yourself. And that we do over and over again. And as we begin again and again, being present, holding ourselves kindly, we can let some of this stilling of the body and calming of the mind to settle in our heart centers. To feel a sense of kindness toward ourselves, an openness, a spaciousness. And if that's hard to do, sometimes imagining a place that you like to go to, a place where you feel safe and joyous, and let that energy come into you. Goodwill. We can also sometimes imagine a statue of the Buddha or Kuan Yin. In some Buddhist traditions, it's thought of as being above our head, pouring light through us, that we may be free from harm, have ease and well-being in our lives. May we hold ourselves gently and with compassion when things are difficult. May we have compassion for ourselves. Remembering that we are also part of someone else whom we don't know, who is including us in their thoughts of loving kindness as their neutral person, that we can hold ourselves kindly and gently. Whether it's easy to bring kindness to ourselves or whether it's difficult, letting just the prospect of goodwill be present and open. And may we nurture that openness to also include a benefactor, a teacher, someone or being that we've derived great benefit from. May we see this being happy and healthy, free from harm, safe and protected and having ease. When things are challenging, may they have compassion for themselves as we have compassion for them. Holding them in our heart's space, inclining our mind toward kindness, compassion for a benefactor. And then allowing this sense of kindness in our hearts, inclining our hearts and minds toward a close friend. Envisioning them happy and healthy. Including them in our heart space of kindness, well-being. May they be free from harm, safe and protected. May their bodies be healthy and strong and their minds peaceful and tranquil. And when things get challenging for our friend, may we hold them with compassion, and may they hold themselves in compassion. May you be free from your suffering. May you hold yourself gently when things are difficult. May you have ease and well-being. And may we let this kindness, this metta and compassion, karuna, that we are generating, inclining our mind, infusing our being, may it include others. Some may be difficult. May we include our family members and our friends. May we include our neighbors. May we include people in other directions from us, north and east, south and west, and all the directions. May there be freedom from suffering. All of those beings that fly and walk, swim, crawl, those beings known and unknown, seen and unseen. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness, be free from harm, safe and protected, and have ease in their lives. May they have compassion for themselves, be happy in their joyous moments, and have equanimity, be available to not fall into extremes. May these heavenly abodes, the Brahma Viharas, be present. Anicca vata sankara upadavaya domino upakitawa meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. They arise and pass away. And seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. And may the goodness that from our practice, may the merit of our practice be of benefit to all beings. Thank you so much for your practice. As you begin opening your eyes and letting light in, may we let some of this kindness and compassion flow to each other in our circle, and mindfully reach for our water and our glasses, and we'll take about a less than 5-minute break while I fiddle around with technology. And on YouTube, Facebook, you can come back in about 5 minutes for some conversation. Happy Vesak, the Buddha's birthday, enlightenment day, and Parinibbana death day, the full moon in May.